Having cheap makeup is one thing, but having cheap makeup that actually works as good as the expensive stuff is another thing. So I'm going to put on a full face of makeup with the absolute cheapest, but yet I absolutely love makeup. I came up with a challenge and I actually collaborated with 4 other YouTubers on the cheapest yet most amazing makeup we could come up with for a full face. So I'm going to introduce you to these 4 lovely YouTubers at the end of this video so you guys can go and check out their videos. Let's get started first with primers. This is one of my most favorite, and it's the e.l.f. Putty Primer. I think this is a very good product. It does blur out pores. I never say any primer actually takes away pores. I just don't think they actually do that, but they can minimize them a bit. I always put it around my nose, a little bit above my, like between my eyes here and on my chin here. That's my biggest pore area. The other primer I use is Revlon's Prime Plus. I think this is one of the best primers. It is not the cheapest. I shouldn't say cheap because cheap makes it sound like it's not a good product. Cheap to me means inexpensive, but you guys know what I mean when I say cheap. When I first bought it, I thought it was going to be more like a cream, like a lot of primers are, but it's much more of a jelly product. They have different ones for your different needs, but I think this is a very good product. I also am not a firm believer that you have to use a primer. So I think everybody's different. I think there are times definitely that I don't use a primer at all. The next product would be my foundation, and this may surprise you. I actually have a $1 foundation that I love, and it's from Dollar Tree. It is their Sassy and Chic Moisturizing Foundation. I actually really like this foundation, and it totally surprised me. I did a whole face of Dollar Tree makeup, and I will link it below. But this was one of the huge surprises when I did that video, that this actually worked. I don't break out from it. A lot of people were like, oh, I'm so nervous about it. I got some comments that they were nervous about using Dollar Tree makeup. And I understand that fear, but I had no issues with it, and I have pretty sensitive skin. It's definitely a light coverage. I did put a second layer on, so it's buildable. I think it's buildable only to a lower medium. I don't think this is going to give you huge coverage. In fact, I know it won't give you huge coverage. So if you have a lot to cover, I wouldn't recommend this, or else you'll need to use concealer with it. But honestly, this is a very good foundation, and it's $1. If you are wary of using the Dollar Tree foundation, another foundation that I think is just amazing is Essence Pretty Natural. Ladies, I gotta tell you, this stuff does not crease. It doesn't crease on my skin. I don't even have to set this foundation. Okay, eye primer. The cheapest and one of the best is the Milani eye primer. I love this eye primer. I've used it for years. I think it's a very good primer. I have found a better one, but it's not as cheap. So I want to show it to you, but if you're going for the absolute cheapest, go for this. This one is a good primer. It's not going to cost you a lot of money. I have been using this. I got it on Amazon. It's called Thank Me Later. It's like double the price. This is $14. Of course, this is going to last you a long time. This can be up to $20, but when I bought it, it was $14 because it was on sale on Amazon. So I think that they would run sales pretty often, but obviously this one's a better deal as far as the price. And they're both very good. I just like this one a little bit better. So it would be remiss for me not to tell you. Oh, they're so good. And for me, I have to use an eye primer. I guess I have pretty oily lids. Right where it touches my lid area, my mascara smears. And it's because if I have oily eyelids, which I guess I do, oil will take off waterproof mascara. That's how I get it off at night. And of course, that's why it smudges. But when I use a primer, it doesn't do that. I mean, it literally stops it. So if you have the same issue, I'd really recommend trying that. I like to even out my skin tone on my eyelids. They're very red and blotchy, and I just think it makes my eyelids look so undone. I don't use a lot of eyeshadow, although that is changing. I'm starting to use it a lot more. I'm experimenting and having fun. but I do like to have something that's an all over color. The best combination that I have found to make my eyelids look really good all day is first the eye primer, then I use a concealer all over my lid. This is from Maybelline. It's the Fit Me Concealer. It is $6.49, so it's not a lot of money. It is gonna last you a long time, and I just use a little dot on each of my lids, and then I use another sponge. Now, these are from Real Techniques. You can get them on, all different places. Any drugstore will carry these. And I use that to go all over my lid. It's just the best way I have found to be able to get my eyelids looking as good as they can all day. The third part of that is using a setting powder. Just take a brush, I'm using an e.l.f. brush, and I just put it all over my lid, and that just sets it. It doesn't really look like I'm wearing eyeshadow. I technically am not wearing eyeshadow, but what it does is just evens out that, and it makes it look just a little bit finished without having to do eyeshadow. Under my eyes, to get the dark circles, I use the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate Concealer. This is a very good concealer. I love it. Now, I put a little bit too much on when I was doing my makeup there, which I do all the time. But in the end, it turned out being pretty good. This concealer is probably the one I have, the shade I have is probably a little too light for me. I think I should go a little bit darker, but you'll see it looks flawless at the end of it. Flawless is a very extreme term. I don't know if I'm ever flawless, but it looks pretty good at the end of it when I'm finished. So after I'm done doing that, I always use my finger, and then in the end, I'll use my sponge to just even everything out. Then I will use a setting powder. The one I'm using is from e.l.f. I think I should have gotten a lighter color. I think it's a little bit dark for me, but honestly, in the end, it doesn't show up dark. I even used this under my eyes, and it did help negate the fact that my concealer is a bit light. So it kind of evened the whole thing out. If my concealer was the right color, I don't think I would want this light color. So I think I'm gonna order the shade down, but it's pretty translucent. It's not a huge color change, so I'm okay with using this for now. But I just use an e.l.f. concealer brush and then just do it underneath, and that just sets it for the entire day. If you've used the e.l.f. one and you don't really like it, because this one's, obviously this is very inexpensive. Another one I like is No. 7's Lift and Illuminate. This is my absolute favorite setting powder. I like it particularly under my eyes. It does an okay job on the rest of my face, but under my eyes, it's the best. All right, on to brows. Brows, oh brows. Sometimes I just wish I could shave them off. That would not look very attractive. My favorite brow pencil, which is so inexpensive. It is the NYX Precision Brow Pencil. This one I have used for years. I like the tip of it because it will give you a nice wide tip as well as a thin tip. So you can, whichever way you put it on your brow will give you the look that you want for your brows. It also has a spoolie on the end. I would never use a brow pencil without a spoolie on the end. It just drives me insane to have to pick up another tool to even things out. So this to me is one of the best. I am in the color Espresso, but there are many different colors that they have, and this works wonders. When I'm done filling them all in, and I feel like they look relatively like they belong on the same face, I will go in with the e.l.f. Wow Brow. This to me is one of the best brow gels out there, and it is so inexpensive. What is it? I think it's $4. It's $4. And yes, this tube is obviously very small, but it'll last you. I mean, I maybe buy 2 of these a year, maybe 3, but they last a good amount of time. You're not using it very much every time you do your eyebrows. Okay, that Wow Brow Gel will hold my brows in place okay. But I have very fluffy, I don't have a lot. Well, I have more because I've been using Grande Lash and Grande Brow. So my brows and lashes are doing amazing right now. I have more brow hairs and lashes that I have since I was a teenager. Like, I'm amazed by this stuff. But I have brows that tend to droop down and to kind of stick off my face instead of being on my face. And so I really struggle keeping them all going in the same direction all day. Most brow gels, they work okay. This one from NYX is a very good one. I think it's, what's it called, brow glue. This stuff does work great. I do have a good alternative, and this is pretty cheap. So if you don't want to go with my alternative, I actually make my own brow gel. And I did a whole video about this just, I think 2 videos ago. So I will link it below. But I use my own, and this stuff outshines this by far. I am amazed by it. The trick to me is to put one layer in, let it dry down completely, and then go in and put another layer in. It's seconds to do it, but literally they don't move. I mean, unless I itch my eyebrow or something, which, don't you hate that when you've gotten your eyebrows done and you're like, I have an itch, and you're like, this is what I do. I press my eyebrows like that. Okay, I digress. People who are new here are like, this lady is odd, but this stuff is amazing. So go watch my video when you're done here. I will link it below. It's such a good brow gel. And it's not even technically a brow gel. Mascara was a hard one. I struggle with finding a mascara that I actually love. I've gone the cheap route. I do not like e.l.f.'s. They have a new one. It just didn't work for me. And so that one, they don't have a waterproof. I have to use waterproof. So I have 2 to share with you. I'll share with the one I didn't use first. This is Essence Lash Princess Waterproof. It's the blue bottle. This one works great, but I do think it could be better. And my eyelashes, again, I guess my eye hair is, that sounds terrible, but the hairs on my eye area are very unruly, and my eyelashes are very unruly. And the day I did this makeup, oh my word, I swear they did not want to cooperate. It's ridiculous. But this is a good one. I will show you my new favorite. It is not the cheapest, but I wanted to go the cheapest that I actually love. Like, it's not about going cheap. It's about loving the cheap. I've been using L'Oreal's Voluminous XFiber, and this is a 2-part thing. So they have, a first part is a primer on this side, and then the actual mascara is over here. This has really been a game changer for my mascara because I struggle so much. Okay, my hair is driving me insane, so we're putting it back with the glasses. I'm amazed by this stuff. It really does extend my lashes. And again, the day I did this, I was having a hard time, but if you can see, my eyelashes are just so huge. Like, I'm so amazed. Now, this combined with the fact that I've been using Grande Lash for a little over a month now has made a huge difference on my lashes. I feel like they're so long. Okay, on to bronzer. I love bronzer. My favorite is a cream bronzer. So the one I am using is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. They just came out with these, and I think that they are very good. I will encourage you to go darker than what you think. I bought some lighter colors, which looked so dark to me in the pan, and they barely showed up, and I'm not that dark of a person. And then Rachel bought a darker one. She bought, hopefully they have the color on here. Of course they don't. e.l.f., why do you not, does it on the lid at all? No, of course they didn't. I will put it on the screen here somewhere because they have nothing on here. But their putty bronzer, I would have thought this was too dark for me. And it definitely is not too dark, but it really performs well. Their putty brush, love this thing. I have 2 of these, one for bronzer and one for blush. I love these brushes. I think that they have been a huge change. They made it for their putty primer. That's why it's got a little scoop on the end. I don't use the scoop at all. I don't care. The brush itself is just got this perfect condensed brushes that make it so that it just blends out your cream products beautifully. Now, I also will sometimes use e.l.f.'s primer infused bronzer that is powder. Sometimes, in which I did this today, I use the putty bronzer and then I will set it with the powder, because obviously I don't want to use a cream and not put something over it. It will kind of move all over your face. You don't want to have that. So sometimes I'll do that and then just give a light of this over it. Okay, blush. My favorite is the Milani Cream Blush. I love this stuff, and that is what I use. It's what I use today. I am in the shade 110 Nude Kiss, and it's called the Cheek Kiss is the name of this cream blush. I love this stuff. It's not the cheapest. Now, e.l.f. does have a putty blush. I do like it, but I don't like the color I chose. So I think it's just as good as the bronzer. Find a color you like. I chose one that was way too pink, and that doesn't even show up how pink it is on my camera there. It looks literally like coral. That might be the name of it. I don't know. So if you can find a color you like, I would go with this kind of cream if you want to go with an inexpensive one. And I believe the blushes, yeah, they're $6. So you can't beat $6. But e.l.f. also has a primer infused powder blush, and I love this as well. This is the color, does it say the color? Oh, I can't read that. Always Earthy. Oh, good. Really? I'm sorry, people who are in their 50s cannot read tiny color like this. Put a big old sticker on the back, e.l.f. Okay, I digress. But this is really good too. Okay, before I get to lips, I always take a brush, a fluffy brush. This is the e.l.f. pointed powder brush, and this is a wonderful one to just dip into your pressed powder or your loose powder, whatever it is you like. I used the e.l.f. pressed powder, and then just kind of set your area. I use very little powder because I have dry skin, and so I don't like to do too much powder on my face, but I do want to set in my cream products so they don't get rubbed off my face when I touch my face, because I always touch my face. I try not to. I just do anyways. Okay, the last part is obviously lips. So I went in with the NYX Suede pencil in Soft Spoken. This is very much a nude on me. You barely see it on my lips. This helps prevent feathering. I kind of go right on the edge just to give myself a little bit of a fuller lip. And then I fill in my Cupid's bow. Is that what that's called here? I think it is, the Cupid's bow. I fill that in a little bit, just again to give me a little bit fuller of a lip. And then I fill in the whole thing with my pencil. Now, sometimes I will just go with a lip gloss over that and I'm good. But I did find, to me, my perfect nude. And that is Color Riche Lip Color number 107. It's called, what is it, Cien Sunset? Cien Sunset? I'm not, S-E-I-N-E, how do you say that? Anyways, it's a lovely lipstick. It's just a pretty nude on me. And I just am in love with this stuff. So, and this has been new to me, so I'm so excited to share it with you. These are not expensive. This is basically $9, and you know how long a lipstick tube will last you. The pencil is $4, so inexpensive, but yet gives you good payout. Now let me tell you about the other ladies that you are going to want to go see. First, we have Melissa from Mrs. Melissa M Beauty. She is just such a sweet girl. She and I share a lot of the same types of makeup that we like. She does a lot more eyeshadow than I do. Then we have Sherry from Graceful Beauty. I literally just met her. What a sweet girl. She's the youngin' in our group. She's 49. Then we have Lisa with Lisa Monique Beauty. She and I have collaborated in the past as well. She is a friend of mine, and she's just gone crazy with her channel lately and really put some effort in there, and I love what she does. And then we have Laura Ray Beauty, and Laura's new to me as well. Now this girl is a spitfire. She just cracks me up. If you go on her Instagram, she's dancing on the beach, but also does amazing fun makeup. I will link all their videos below. Please go check them out and say hello from me if you do. If you love makeup, you are going to want to watch this video. All the things I wish I had known about foundation when I first started wearing makeup. Well, first started wearing foundation when I turned 49, and I'm 54 now. I will see you in the next video. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. God bless.